Hello, my name is Allison Beecher, and today I will be sharing with you information about the ESOL program within my school and within my district. The first question that was posed to us was, how do students qualify for ESOL language support services, and what screening assessments does your district use? I teach within a district in the state of Georgia, and the first thing that is given as a screening or support service is the home language survey. It's the first piece of information used to identify and research the student. Within the survey, students and students' parents are asked questions such as, which language does your child best understand and speak? Which language does your child most frequently speak at home? And which language do adults in your home most frequently use when speaking with your child? Also, since my district is within the state of Georgia, we adhere to the regulations and assessments through WIDA, which is one of the most widely used resource hubs for educators. Okay, next question that was posed was, how many ESOL teachers are there in your school? Within my schoolhouse, there's only one ESOL teacher, and we share her with two other high schools. So she spends the first part of her day in the morning during first block with us, and then she goes to the other two schools, and she does this every day. Within our school, there are currently 19 ELs. The main languages that are spoken are Spanish, French, and Creole. However, through my discussion with the ESOL teacher that serves at our school, we also have a very new Chinese exchange student who is not receiving services at this time, but we will see. Acronyms. In the world of education, there are a ton of acronyms, and in the world of ELL or ESOL, there are just as many, if not more, acronyms. So the first acronym is ESOL, which is English for Speakers of Other Languages. EL, which is English Learner, and that it can be interchanged with ELL, which is English Language Learner. TESOL is Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. LEP is Limited English Proficiency. TPC is Testing Participation Committee. On a testing participation committee, it should have three parts: the ESOL teacher, a general ed teacher, an administrator. L1 is first language. L2 is second language. ELP is English language proficiency. ELD is English language development. Access is assessing comprehension and communication in English state to state for English language learners. And SIOP is Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol. Lastly is WIDA, the World-Class Instructional Design and Assessment. Standardized assessments. What standardized assessments are used to determine the English language proficiency of ELs in your school or district? In conversations with my ESOL teacher, I was told that we use the Access 2.0, which is an online version of a standardized assessment, and that it is usually issued, or it's annually issued between January and March. So she is currently giving this assessment to the 19 ELs within our building. What language support delivery models are used in your school? Within our school, we use sheltered class, but it's only during first semester. We also use the pull-out with the ESOL teacher, but this is only done during first block or first period of the day. And then co-teaching is used whenever applicable. And I use that word loosely because the co-teacher in this case would be the ESOL teacher going into the content areas to help. How do ESOL teachers teach ELs in your school and district? This is information that I found off of the district webpage. So these are the models of instruction used throughout our district. We use the pull-out model, so small group with the ESOL teacher. The push-in model, that is where students go to their content core classes, so math, English, science, and social studies, and scheduled class period. And in our case and within our school, this is done during first period, where they spend time working on language acquisition with the ESOL teacher. How do mainstream teachers differentiate instruction and assessment for ELs in their classes? Within our school, the most frequently used differentiated instruction techniques I've seen are just extended time and scaffolding, especially when it comes to reading. So teachers may choose a different lexile level. They might use a graphic novel in order to provide students with readings that they can actually comprehend. Content and language standards. So since we are in the state of Georgia, we use the Georgia Standards of Excellence. We also use WIDA English Language Development Standards. The first standard for WIDA focuses on social and instructional language. So it reflects the ways in which students interact socially to build community and establish working relationships, while the other four remaining standards present ways learners can communicate information. So the first standard, I would say, reflects language acquisition, while the second standard, the remaining standards, I would say, reflects academic vocabulary needed for students to be successful. Collaboration. How do mainstream teachers and ESOL teachers collaborate in your school or district? Within our district, we have 20 ESOL teachers that are serving 50 schools. So the most common collaborative tool we use is email. Sometimes, if time allows, you might get a drop-by classroom visit from the ESOL teacher. We also see them on teacher work days and pre-planning and post-planning time. How are monitored ELs different from served ELs, and how is the academic progress of students who have exited direct ESOL language support services monitored? Students are monitored through their access scores, and our monitoring services include Infinite Campus. Our district utilizes Infinite Campus whenever possible. And when I was speaking with the ESOL teacher, she also told me that she keeps an ESOL portfolio with all of their monitoring information included within that portfolio. And I've included an example of that in this presentation. Monitoring of ELs after exiting. This is information that I found from the U.S. Department of Education. So ELs must be monitored by local education authorities for at least 2 years after they've exited the program to ensure that they can participate in general ed content area classes. Also, LEAs are now required to report on the percentage of former ELs that meet state standards for 4 years. So these are the resources I was telling you about for monitoring students. This one on the left, was provided to me by the ESOL teacher in my building, and this is just where she keeps a hard copy record of the access scores and their growth in that area. And this was also provided to me by the ESOL teacher. This is her folder checklist. So this is the portfolio that she's keeping on each of the ESOL students within our building. And as you can see, it starts with the HLS survey, and it helps her, I guess, give teachers, but also herself, awareness about the growth of the ELs within our building. Lastly, these are the references I used for this presentation. I hope that you found the information